Hello there, Seraphim17 once again. This is my Devil May Cry 5 Dante Must Die difficulty video walkthrough. This is mission 6, it's called Steel Impact, and it is a boss level. So the entire level is just a boss fight. And what a boss fight it is, guys. Gilgamesh, great name, great homage to a weapon in Devil May Cry 4. Terrible boss! Who would have thought, right? Who would have thought? But we're playing as Nero again. Nero is the character that I'm most comfortable with at the moment, and the strategy for this boss couldn't be simpler. It begs the question, why the fuck is this boss so long when it's so goddamn dull? But you break his ankle, and then you use it to grab your way up onto the top of him, and then you attack this rather strange spine testicle that he has. Whenever he gets all juicy like this, if you double jump and then you air taunt and swing your sword a little bit, depending on your timing when you do this, will depend on whether or not you can stay on top of him. Usually, you can stay on top of him quite a lot. That right there was me tempted to restart because I was annoyed, but I didn't do it. The gun that's shooting at you just then, if you shoot it, it will knock it away and its bullets won't come anywhere near you. But it can be tricky to do that because of the way the lock-on works in this game, so be very careful. But I think the best way to do this guy... Look at that, he's even charging the bullshit before I'm on him. That's not very fair, is it? But once you get onto his back, I feel like one of the better strategies is to use ragtime, go into showdown, and then just wail on it a bit. I feel like that's really, really good damage. But unfortunately at this moment in time you're not going to see me doing showdown because the input for it's too awkward. So the idea that I had was to use Overture and stick the bombs on it and see if I could stack some bombs. And it wasn't that effective. There's probably much better ways of doing damage. But this was a one attempt. And I think this is the shittest boss in the game. I don't understand why anyone would like it or why it's in the game. And how a Devil May Cry can have such graceful and glorious bosses like Agni and Rudra, like Virgil, like all of these great fights, and then this, which is just a moving platform with 3 moves that's completely fucking dull and has too much life. And I will never understand a planet where this exists in the same place that every boss in Devil May Cry 1 exists. Devil May Cry 1 came out in 2001. That's 18 years ago, and every boss in that game is majestic and wonderful. This is garbage. This is beyond garbage. This is literally like banging your head against the fridge, expecting it to open. It's just dumb. And I don't understand, dude. It's like... And everybody has their own preferences for bosses, right? Some people hate bosses, and that's understandable. But, like, Capcom has done great boss fights in the past. They've done bad ones. Like, look at Resident Evil. Those boss fights are never going to win awards, are they, for being the best boss fights, but they suit that game. This does not suit the game, dude. It's just crap. And it's so weird. It's so weird because, like, there seems to be a gimmick here that I'm not getting. Like, maybe if you break all his legs, he falls down, and then you can hit his face and do tons of damage. Nope, that doesn't work. You know, maybe you can use the barrels to tip him over onto his belly and he's got a super weak point and that does tons of damage. Nope, that doesn't work. So instead, you wait for this arbitrary cutscene, you break your Buster Arm on him because it does the most damage, and then you do the exact same thing I was just doing, which is wailing on him and trying to dodge. Which I suppose, if you diminish it all down to its lowest base numbers, that's all you're doing anyway, but it's usually more interesting than this, and I feel like that this boss needs something more, because as it stands, it's just stupid. Like, I feel like this is a boss you should fight with V. It's that kind of boss, you know, it's just super simple and dumb. But there's the ragtime. I did the blob on it didn't seem to do shit, so I'm probably going to break it next. And you might be thinking, Chris, why don't you do the different moves with the sword attacks? I find if you do the level 3 attacks, you miss. You end up like going really high or going really far the other direction and falling off. And then he summons his Beyblades, which is the best form of this boss. We're now going to be attacked by these sentient Beyblade things that I'm going to run away from and try to shoot. And they just add so much dynamism. How do you say that word? Dynamicism? Dynamism? I can't say that word. It's a dynamic-ism. There you go. Dynamicism? I can't say it. That word, it makes it dynamic. Flying Beyblades on top of random gunshots, on top of random back juice, on top of spikes, on top of walking around doing nothing with belly flops. I mean, it doesn't get much more graceful than this, does it? It truly is. If this was the Renaissance, this thing would be on a wall for just sheer quality. I mean, how can you compare this to Virgil? Virgil is positively simple and mundane. There we go, broke his ankle. Let's warp up. Let's try not to get shot. That was great. Can we warp up, please, game? Here we go. There we go. And you can caliber towards it if you miss it here, guys. That's another way of getting close. But I need to test this boss extensively and find something, because if this ain't the shittest thing you've seen today, you've been watching some horrific things. And he just devil triggered just in case he wasn't taking enough damage. What a great boss! And when in doubt, guys, if you think you're going to get hit, just jump off him. It's easy to get back on him. I'm going to take one hit on this fight at the end of it, which is really, really bullshit because he doubles up on a missile attack that I was nowhere near, and it still hit me. Which I felt was really disingenuous and not very fair, but what can you do? Luckily, I'm not going for no damage. Here we go, Beyblades again. Shoot the Beyblade, Nero, please. Shoot the Beyblade, dog. Belly flop, kills his own Beyblade. Terrible tactic. Here we go. Hit him a few more times. Like, I feel like this is the type of boss you would see in something like a Monster Hunter game, where it's this huge lumbering thing where the puzzle is getting on top of it, and then when you're on top of it, it just has a lot of life and it runs away. Like, this feels to me like a boss from a different series. Because think about it, what boss in Devil May Cry has been this garbage? You could say Sanctus, because all he does is run away and he's got a bitch shield. That's a boss fight that I find it really hard to defend because he's really cowardly, and cowardly fights are generally the least interesting ones in this series. You could say the Heart in Devil May Cry 3, because all it was like 2 different valves on the other side of the room that did weird things, and then a central laser, and it summoned enemies. But the cool thing about that boss is you could just jump cancel and stay out of the harm's way of everything while you were destroying the side bits. It wasn't a very interesting fight, but it was more interesting than this. Like, I think the bosses in DMC are better than this one. This is just terrible. Like, I'd rather fight that newscaster, what was his name, like Bob Barbas or something? That was a way more interesting fight than this. Like, this is like fighting a door in God Hand. You made a boss equivalent of fighting a door. Thanks, Capcom. Which is ironic, because Capcom made God Hand! Oh my goodness. I wonder what Hideki Kamiya was thinking when he plays this section. I wish we could get a play-by-play of just how amazing this boss is. But who knows, maybe he likes it, you know? And if you do like this boss, guys, can you give me a good reason why you like it? I'd be very interested in hearing it, because... Here we go, watch this. So, see the missile that's on his lower back? It doubled up, right? There was the second one. I thought I was out of range of them, but I wasn't, so I got hit, and he was 2 hits away from death. If I gave a shit about this fight, I would have been angry, but luckily for me, I S-ranked it anyway. I could have even died with that style and still got the S-rank. So, good riddance, Mr. Steel Impact. You are the weakest part of the game, and that's really saying something. But thank you for watching, and you take care now.